Hey everybody, my name is Chukundi Salisbury, and I'm filling in today for Reverend Harriet Walden here on the Mother's Justice Show. And she has graciously provided this hour for us to talk about the Black Legacy Homeowner Network today and the work that we've been doing here in the community. And for full transparency, as always, I am Mother Walden's son, or second son out of four. And my name is Chukundi Salisbury. So many of the listeners, you've probably heard me on here before in some capacity around my work as a volunteer with mothers, throughout the years. But specifically today, I'm excited to have be on with her in this space to talk about the Black Legacy Homeowner Network and what we've been doing here in the community and beyond. And so the Black Legacy Homeowner Network is, first of all, if you're online or on your computer, take down the website. It's blacklegacyhomeowners.org. Again, that's blacklegacyhomeowners.org. And so our project is a project that's funded in part by the City of Seattle Office of Housing. And what we're charged with in this program is creating a network of legacy Black homeowners in the CD, in the South End, and across the city of Seattle. So we're specifically working to contact and engage with Black homeowners, those that identify as African American. And so then that's not BIPOC, if you will, right? So we're specifically working to contact and engage African American homeowners throughout the city of Seattle. And we're getting a lot of interest actually from beyond Seattle. And so in that contact, in that work, this engagement work that we're doing, we are engaging folks that are across the spectrum, right? And so what does that mean? You say, hey, Shikani, what does that mean? You're engaging Black homeowners, but what does that mean? What it means is that we are creating a network of folks. And so not only are we having events for us to network and get to know each other and remind each other that we are in fact still here, even though many of our African American neighbors have been gentrified and moved on. There's a lot of us who are still here in the city, and there's a lot that don't plan on going anywhere. Right. And so to that end, we're networking and making sure that we know each other, and then specifically connecting people with resources and information. Right. So as the Black Legacy Homeowner Network, we're not necessarily the experts in any particular thing other than engagement. And what we're doing is connecting folks with resources. So on the short term, we are connecting folks with many of the programs that the city of Seattle have and other community-based organizations like the Urban League and folks like that. And these are programs like the Utility Discount Program, home repair programs, foreclosure assistance programs, and the like. And then on the longer term or more of a planning type of end of the spectrum, if you will, we've been connecting our members with folks that can talk about trusts, wills, like what does that mean? How do we ensure generational wealth? One of the things that we found through this work is that oftentimes many of the homes that we have lost in our community, while many have fell victim to the higher taxes and being taxed out because of our structure here in Washington and Seattle in particular. What we found is that there's many homeowners that have lost our property in our community simply because we didn't have the fiscal and financial structures in place, the vehicles, the tools, if you will, to be able to ensure generational wealth, right? And so what am I talking about? What do you mean? Any tools? Is that a hammer? Is that a nail? What do you mean? I'm talking about the actual tools like a trust, right? And again, I'm not the lawyer, right? But a trust is something where it's your home and your assets are basically put into a company where you can and now we all are members of the trust, if you will, and the trust now owns the house, right? And so there's a lot around that, right? So, but again, what we're doing is whether you're looking for short-term or near-term things that are going to help you keep you in your home right now, or if you're looking to plan to try to make sure that your wishes are taken care of as you move on, and be able to transfer that generational wealth. Those are some of the things we're working on. In addition to that, we're working with our homeowners and our members to, identify ways that they can not only keep their property, but improve their property, right? And what does that mean, right? Does that, that could be anything from an ADU, right? Putting one of these cottages or an additional dwelling unit on the property. That could be putting, splitting your lot and actually building something else, an additional dwelling, or creating multifamily on your property, maybe building a small, duplex or triplex, right? So there's a lot of ways that we can learn in the Black Legacy Homeowner Network, right? So it's not just about the short-term or near-term resources, and there's a lot of things that we can all learn as Black homeowners. And what I've heard in community oftentimes, and it still rings true, is that we are in fact stronger together, right? And we know that from and I'm sure if Rev Walden was here online right with us right now, she would say that we learned that, through the struggles of the civil rights era and the like. And she always gets excited about Black people in particular coming together to work on a specific thing or cause that is going to uplift us all. So Black Legacy Homeowner Network, lots of great work. It's a program of Service as a Lifestyle, which is our nonprofit located here in Seattle, Washington. And this work continues. And so, yeah, to that end, we had a great meeting. If you go to our website, you can kind of see the recaps of the different events we've had. Just recently, we had an event at the Royal Esquire Club the last Sunday before last here with John Wilson, the King County Assessor, and he came out and talked about really understanding your property value. He gave us a lot of updates on the senior tax exemption and how they've raised the limit on those, the cap, if you will, the income limit. So they're encouraging seniors to reapply. Perhaps if maybe you didn't qualify before under the previous limits, maybe you can reapply and get new information. We've had events with real estate professionals to talk to us about making sure that we know the commercial value of our property, not just what the Zestimate or one of these websites says, like what kinds of zoning is where your home is at and the like. So we've learned a lot about those types of things, and we're encouraging everybody to come out to our events around that education and connecting the resources. However, we're also doing a lot of fun stuff. In fact, this Friday, we're going to be at the Royal Esquire Club for our Black Legacy Homeowner Happy Hour, which is powered by Ezell's. Thank you to Lewis and the whole team over at Ezell's. We're going to be at the Royal Esquire Club. Thank you to them for hosting us. The Royal Esquire Club is the longest consistently open social club here, Black-owned social club in the state of Washington, with being founded and opening in 1948. So just recently, they celebrated 75 years of serving the Black community here in Seattle. So super excited to always be working with them. And we got a great happy hour coming up. And on September 3rd, we're going to be out at Jimi Hendrix Park, just part of the Roots Barbecue. So lots of great stuff coming up, and we'll talk about that. But I want to welcome a couple of our, in the next segment, I think we're probably going to take a break here shortly. But And when I come back, we're going to bring on our guest speaker, a couple of our speakers that we have on the show today. One that I'm really super excited about to talk to when we come back is Miss Linda Taylor. She's an icon here with the Urban League in this community and has been working on housing and helping us stay in our homes for many years now. And most certainly, as I've mentioned many times, I'm not necessarily an expert in anything, but she most certainly is, especially when it comes to housing and helping us keep our homes and transfer that generational wealth. And then later on in the hour, we've got a guest named Sheri Day, who is a friend of the program and a volunteer with Mothers for Police Accountability. But more importantly, she's also a person who has experienced being taxed out of her home. And she's currently a recipient of the Senior Tax Exemption. And that program, as I mentioned, is currently helping seniors reduce their tax burden so they don't get taxed out of their home. Right. And then after that, we'll have on a couple of guests that'll talk about the upcoming March on Washington and some other events that are happening in the community. So we've got a full hour. Super excited to talk to you guys. Thank you to Reverend Walden for letting us come on today. And so I guess we'll be right back with our first guest, Miss Linda Taylor of the Urban League.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Going our own way every day. Alternative Talk 1150.
All right. Well, welcome back to the Mother's Justice Show. And this is the Black Legacy Homeowner Takeover, if you will, today. In our second segment, I'm super excited to welcome a person that knows a lot, well-respected, was honored by her organization. I was at the breakfast last year. And it was like a standing ovation. Everybody respects her for not only the work she's done, but most certainly the institutional knowledge that she carries with her. And I'm super excited again to welcome Mrs. Linda Taylor from the Urban League. How you doing, Linda?
I'm just fine. Thank you for that warm introduction.
I be paying attention. I'm paying attention.
They surprised me. They never get anything over on me, but this time they did.
Yes, and that was a great event, man. So, and I mean, it was well deserved. I think,
I appreciated it.
People have talked about you for a long time. I most certainly had heard about you. We had talked in circles for a long time, and then, of course, we worked together on the when I was running for office, of course, and now it's super, again, excited to be doing this body of work. And to be able to connect with an expert like yourself. And I know that you could probably take up the whole hour today talking about the different things that but specifically, I just really wanted to check in with you today. And if you could tell us a little bit about the HAF program and the work that the Urban League is doing in our community around the HAF program.
Okay, well, the HAF program is the Homeowner Assistance Fund. It was funded by the Department of Commerce And the Department of Commerce actually didn't have a network of housing counselors. So they turned it over to the Washington State Housing Finance Commission with a network of housing counselors, and of which the Urban League is a long-standing partner.
Mm-hmm.
The homeowners, well, the HAF program, let's go back to the acronym, is part of the American Rescue Plan. There's $9.9 billion to support homeowners facing foreclosure hardship associated with COVID-19. And that is such a loose definition for our state. What is associated? Your grocery bill went up, and so you were having a hard time paying your mortgage. So that is being affected. That's being affected by COVID. You couldn't go to work. You had to stay home and take care of your children because school was out. That's being affected by COVID. So our state really has embraced it. I'm at a conference here in Chicago now, and I'm finding out that a lot of people, a lot of states have spent all their money. We have not. We have not. You can get up to $60,000. You can get $15,000 on your own, just going in, filling it out. I never recommend that because that might not be all you need.
Right.
You might need to go to mediation to mediate this because your foreclosure is coming too quickly. So we can help stop that also through what's called mediation. So they've opened up some of the rules. They're using rental properties now.
Really?
Right, along with homeowner properties. They'll help you pay your property taxes, your mortgage, and your homeowners association fees. We just took care of a girl the other day. I was a little surprised, but how it all unfolded. We got her. She was not working, and she owed like $40,000 in back property taxes.
Wow.
We helped her get a job through our workforce division. She got a job and qualified, paid off her taxes. She's happy. We're working. She kept her home, and it was a struggle, but we did it. You don't even have to be a U.S. citizen.
Wow. Okay.
Everything is private, confidential, and that's one thing our state helped remove. Service is free, no cost. The only service that is charged for is mediation, and that's paying the mediator, not the Urban League. So it's a wonderful program, and our community really needs to take advantage of it.
You know what? I want to help get this information. I mean, obviously, that's what we do here at the Black Homeowner Network, Black Legacy Homeowners Network, is connect people with information. One of the things why this is so important and why I wanted to talk to you today is that these are the people that fall victim to those little signs in the neighborhood, that little handwritten sign with a Sharpie that says, I buy houses, no longer how far you're behind or any condition. And what happens is, and you know more than me, Ms. Taylor, I'm just talking, but people feel the burden, the weight of that 40,000 on their shoulders. And they see that handwritten sign and they so stressed out that they call and then they get bopped over the head for their house.
Pennies.
Yeah, pennies on the dollar when they could have got up to $60,000 to pay that debt off. And so that's why, I mean, it's so important, as you said, we're saying the same thing, right, that folks know about this program. And I guess the other thing that that I see is one, people get, bopped by those signs, but oftentimes it's their pride too, right? And I had this
a lot of pride.
Yeah, I had this page.
A lot of that.
I had a page. In fact, I still got it up on Facebook. It said, "Don't let your pride get you gentrified." Right. So they're keeping this on the inside, and it's burning them up. It's affecting their health, and then they finally run into whoever, Johnny, that buys houses, and they get taken for a ride. So the work that you're doing is super important to me and to our community. And again, I guess what I heard you say in the message there is to those DIYers, right? Everybody that feels like, I could do it myself, right? Yeah, you could do it yourself and get 1/4 of what you could have got if you would have
Right.
sat down with the urban
Well,
league.
if you owe under 15,000, you can do it yourself, but
Right.
that might not be the total problem. Like you say, we'll help connect you with the Black Legacy Network, because there are a lot of other things that are contributing to you, to the demise of your home ownership.
Yeah.
And one of them could be your light bill.
Exactly.
So, and City Light has that wonderful program for that. There can be lots of things, and we could help you pay that off, and you still might not be able to afford your home. So what do we need to help you do? Go get a loan modification.
Exactly.
Modify that loan. Your interest rate might be way too high. We can help you get that down. I still have people paying 25%. I had one 25% the other day. Had another 13% the other day. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. And even with our high rates right now at 7 or whatever the rate is, 7%
I don't know.
Money is definitely not free anymore. But
No.
what I would say is that there is no reason for our people in our community to have these predatory rates. And I guess that's part of what's important here is that you and your team have folks that can sit down and walk you through this and connect you with those resources. And we can put our pride to the side and come on down, right? Sit down with you or somebody for your team. We can navigate folks, through those types of issues, right? Exactly. And like you said, it's all private. And I know some folks know me as the social media baby, but trust me, when you sit down and talk about the HAF program or other private things for your situation with the Urban League, that's not something that you're sharing and
no, never. Yeah. Well, number one, you turn into a number when you go into the computer. Right. So it's very difficult to know who did what, when, and where.
Right. Well, because we're just really private people, and I think that's one of our things, as you know, it's one of the things that kind of plagues our community in general, right? That when people don't want nobody to know about their business, right? And
when everybody really does know.
Everybody talking.
Everybody knows. Everybody does.
So
it's in the newspaper. It's in the Daily Journal of Commerce. I know people losing their home.
Yeah, and so it really is a lot. But I think one of the things we're trying to build with this Black Legacy Homeowner Network, Ms. Taylor, right, is again trying to build that community. Right, because we are in fact the last of the last, if you will. But as we do this work, and I'm sure you already do this because you know a lot. It's a lot of Black people who still have their homes, and I'm super excited. What you just mentioned, and I'm going to actually be talking with somebody a little bit later, is that the HAF program can extend to our Black landlords who in fact own multiple properties.
And it just started. That was just that's a brand new change.
Right. And I'm not quite sure that these Black landlords are aware of that because, we talked about, I met a guy the other day that has 4 properties, and all he was talking about is that, how Seattle is right now, and you cannot get these people out of your home because of the, the different things. And so he's behind on some of the mortgages from his rental properties because people haven't been paying their rent. And so I'm most certainly going to share that information. Now, Ms. Taylor, how can people get in touch with you in the HAF program at the Urban League?
You can call the Urban League at 206-461-3792.
Okay, and say that again.
That's 206-461-3792.
Indeed. Yeah. So
email.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm ltaylor@urbanleague.org.
Okay, so that's ltaylor@urbanleague.org. Yes, I most certainly have it. Write it down. So the other part about the Black Legacy Homeowner Network is you don't have to come through us, right, to get to the resources. You contact Ms. Taylor directly. Call her or email her and get out of foreclosure, get up to that $60,000 Get
Yes,
what you
it's
need,
there.
not just what you think you need, but get what you need. And so oftentimes that's sitting down with a person who can go through a checklist of information because they've done this with other people, right? And it's
Oh,
a
we do it
private,
every day.
yeah, exactly. So it's a private thing. You're going to go in the computer as a number. And there's something that's going to help save your house for right now, but also for your children and your family and for your generation. So, Ms. Taylor, I want to thank you for coming on
Oh,
today.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for helping us
appreciate you.
get the word out. Keep knocking on those doors.
Yes, ma'am. We in the
That's a
street.
part. That's a hard part of the work. That's a real hard part.
Oh, it is. Well, look, safe travels home, and I'll be following up with you when you touch down, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, now, hey, you guys are listening to the Mother's Justice Show, and this is the Black Legacy Homeowner Takeover today. And I'll be right back with our next guest, whose name is Sheri Day. And she is a member of, she's a member of our community, of course, but more importantly, she is a senior and a person that was not only taxed out of her home, had a nice house in Mount Baker, but was fortunate enough to be able to buy another house here in Southeast Seattle, and is currently receiving the benefit of being a member of the Senior Tax Exemption. So we'll be right back after this break. Thanks for tuning in.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Rev Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Alternative Talk 1150. It's good for what ails you.
All right. Hey, welcome back from the break. So if you're just joining us, this is again the Mother's Justice Show, brought to you by Reverend Rev Walden. And she's out today. And so she's offered and most generously this time to let us have a show about the Black Legacy Homeowner Network. And the Black Legacy Homeowner Network is an effort to organize and engage our African-American homeowners here in Seattle and beyond, and connect with resources and education to help us keep our homes and keep our generational wealth. And you can find out more about us at blacklegacyhomeowners.org. And so without further ado, let me get to my next guest, the wonderful and long time resident of Seattle, generational resident of Seattle, Miss Sheri Day. And she's a volunteer with mothers and most certainly has done a lot of work with Reverend Walden. And so it just makes sense to have you on the program today. Welcome, Sheri.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So, listen, I obviously, for full transparency, I was at your house yesterday, right? And so, I just really wanted to, get you on the show here, Sheri, and talk a little bit about the senior tax exemption and the fact that people, not only just Black people, but people in general are being, in fact, taxed out of their homes in Seattle. It really does happen. And I think that some people that haven't experienced that, especially there's a lot of renters around who don't necessarily know how a property tax works and all of those different things, and folks on a fixed income. Can you briefly kind of tell me that story that you told me yesterday about the home that you had in Mount Baker and the result, the property tax increases that resulted in you eventually having to move to where you're at now?
Yeah. When my folks died, well, first of all, let me just say, for your benefit, yes, I am a longtime resident, but I'm more than that. I'm a second generation Seattleite. My mother was born in Seattle too, okay? One of the few that's left here.
Yes, ma'am.
And in 1960, my folks bought a house on 32nd and Union. And, my mother was one of those people who, talks about what she wants and dreams it, and it happened. And we lived in an apartment building. I was a baby. This is the story. We lived in an apartment building across the street from the house she fell in love with. And she just declared that was going to be our house. And so what she did was she made a relationship with the lady whose family had built the house, who was still in it and in her 90s. And she would garden with her because my mother loved to garden, and it was a huge yard. And they ended up being offered the home. That original house in 1960 was $8,000. Yeah. And we lived in it until 1970. We sort of outgrown it. A 12-year-old should not be having to share a bedroom with her little brother. And redlining had shifted. And so we moved to Mount Baker. And the home that we moved to in Mount Baker, my father was living in when he passed. My mother had passed before that. And then when he passed, the entire accumulation of property, because my mother was very much into, let's buy this property, let's see if we can help this person and quit claim their property. And, she got a lot of properties, both with houses and vacant properties,
right,
all over South Seattle and in Eastern Washington. And some of them, she kind of had this dream of developing, but things just didn't work that way. And so what she did do was hang on to everything. She was able to hang on to everything. And but when they died, we had to figure out ways to keep the best of it, the cream of it. And so my sister got the house on 32nd and Union. I got the house on Hunter Boulevard in Mount Baker. And my brother got a smaller house because we knew he wasn't really probably going to live in it. And he got some other properties that he could use for rentals. And then he was terminal, so we cashed him out. And so we liquidated most of the estate. By the time that everything came into my name, the house on Hunter Boulevard, the house was not valued at that much. There hadn't been a home on that boulevard that was that had sold for 30 years. And all of them had sold at real low prices. And so then all of a sudden, there was a house on the boulevard. Well, taxes had started rising a little bit before that because of the surrounding area.
Right.
And then suddenly in early 2000 or 1990, late 1990s, we started seeing just a doubling practically every year of the taxes. It was ridiculous, because you just don't get raises like that, especially when you work in nonprofits and in social services, which we did. Mm-hmm. My credit was not good enough to refinance the house most of the time, although I did start being able to do that. Every time I refinanced, I basically just got the taxes out of the equity of the house. And then finally, it just became too much. So we were forced out of the neighborhood. We bought this house here in, I guess, some people say it's Rainier Beach. The map says it's Hillman City.
Right.
It's the Netherlands.
I think of it as South Beacon Hill, but that's
yeah,
fine.
So do I. Whenever anybody asks me, that's what I say, South Beacon Hill.
Okay.
And this was not a neighborhood I looked at. My realtor said, you have to come see this house on general principle, just come see this house. But I was looking at houses in the CD, could not afford anything there, could not qualify for anything there.
Right.
And so we ended up seeing this house. This was probably the third house we looked at. And it was kind of perfect for us. Now the yard is getting to be a little bit too much because, I'm 65, my partner's 80. What year is it? 82, 81. In any case, we were in this position again of seeing the rising taxes, because taxes were real low here. When I bought this house in 2002, oh my God, my taxes were like, I don't know, $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
It was real low.
And now they're probably 4 times that, 5 times that? Yeah.
Exactly. And, the only thing that has allowed me to keep it was because by the time we cashed out the house in Mount Baker at a considerable profit, because of what was going on over there, we were able to get into this house with a large down payment, but also get financed in such a way that the mortgage company pays taxes and homeowners, which we hadn't had before. That's great. So, anybody who doesn't have the mortgage company paying that out of escrow, you need to rethink your situation, because it made such a world of difference. But, and I knew that it would, but I didn't know how to go about it until I'd already owned this other house for a long, long time. And so we've been here since 2002. Taxes are going up again. And then we got the notice I found out, because I had been looking, I kept thinking they need to give seniors some kind of break, because I'm on a fixed income now. My partner's on a fixed income. I fortunately had the foresight to really work to bring the payments down to where if there was only one of us, we could still continue to pay it. We're paying basically less than the average studio apartment in Seattle. Like if I went to get a CD,
me too.
And so
it's a blessing.
It's a huge blessing. It's a huge blessing, because I don't want to move out of town. And
so you got the senior tax exemption.
Yeah. And I got it during the pandemic. So of course there was nobody there. I couldn't really get anybody on the phone. And they did have, and I'm assuming they probably still have, their application online. So you don't have to go anywhere or do anything or print anything or mail anything. You can just send it by email. And so I did that and got the sort of automatic, we received your application. And at that time they were saying it'll probably be 2 years before we make any decisions.
Right.
And I'm thinking 2 years, that's crazy.
It is.
So, then I got kind of that automatic response. And by the end of, I think it was, what is this? This is 2023. I think it was the end of 2022 or 2021 that I got the notice that we qualified. And the great thing is they give you a retroactive credit back to whenever you apply, which wasn't clear at the time. It wasn't clear.
Oh, so that brought some anxiety, I bet, because you didn't know that you were going to get that retroactive credit. So that's something we can tell John Wilson when we connect with him again, that they need to tell people up front that once when and if you are approved, that credit will go retroactive to when you apply.
Yeah, I didn't see that as being clear on their website. I also didn't see on their website if this was like a percentage exemption or whether it was going to zero out my taxes entirely. I don't know. I still don't really know that for sure, because what happened was I got such a big credit that I didn't have to pay taxes last year. And when I called my mortgage company, they weren't even clear about what, they knew there was an exemption. They knew that the letter had said that I qualified for 100% of the exemption, but what does that really mean in terms of dollars? Right. So I just really, to be fair to the office at the state, I really have not followed up on that because frankly, my payments went down. And I got a big ass check from my mortgage company, so I'm like, okay, I'm good. And they will not reevaluate for another 5 years.
Right. Well, you know what's so crazy about that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, folks that are listening right now, you can actually go up on our website, blacklegacyhomeowners.org, and we have sent out the King County Assessor's slides where he talked specifically last Sunday at the Esquire Club about the those percentages, whether you get a 75% or 100% or 50%. To your question, Sheri, and in fact, they have raised the threshold of income for folks, right? So the King County
Right.
assessor broke all that information down. And one of the things I want to encourage people today, right, because I really wanted folks to meet somebody like yourself that has in fact got the senior exemption. So it does exist. Black people do get the exemption. It's not a
Yep.
conspiracy. You can fill out the form and you will get it if you
And didn't nobody come
qualify.
to my door, hunt
Yeah.
me down?
Yeah, no, so nobody's gonna come and be after you. But more importantly, I guess the thing about it is that even for folks that may have been denied before, right? It's great that you got it, but everybody doesn't get it the first time. They didn't qualify. The thresholds have been raised recently, according to John Wilson and his information. And so I want to encourage people to reach out and we can get you those new thresholds. So I'm running up here against some time, though, Sheri, but I appreciate you coming on the show today, and most certainly letting folks know about your story, your family story, and the fact that the senior tax exemption does work. It might take a minute sometimes, but they can credit you retroactively, so to save yourself some anxiety. So I heard all of that about your story, and I appreciate you sharing it, and I'll be in touch.
Okie doke.
All right. Thanks, Sheri. Bye now.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye. Okay, you guys, we'll be right back with the final segment of our show here. Again, this is the Mother's Justice Show today, and we are, this is the Black Legacy Homeowner Takeover, if you will. And where we're engaging around Black Legacy homeowners. And so when I come right back, I'm going to come back with Dr. Linda Smith, and we'll be talking about the Dream Unfinished, the Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee, and all the great events that will be coming up in community this next weekend. There's going to be 4 days of free events. And so it's going to be a great weekend to honor Dr. King. And we'll talk all about that when I come right back. Thanks.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
I'm health and wellness correspondent Lee Kelso, inviting you to discover something new, the Health Call Radio Hour. Each week, we meet doctors, researchers, authors, and people from around the world trying new things to make our mind and body better and to help us age with style. From head to toe, we cover it all on the Health Call Radio Hour, Sundays at 12 a.m. right here on 1150 KKNW.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Rev Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Make it a great day. Keep your dial on Alternative Talk 1150.
You just call.
All right. Hey, well, welcome back to the Mother's Justice Show here. And today is the Black Legacy Homeowner Takeover. Reverend Walden is out of town, and she's on her little staycation and doing her. And she's graciously allowed us to take over the show today and talk about community information, as she most always, she likes to do. And earlier in the hour, we, of course, talked about the Black Legacy Homeowner Network and that information is at blacklegacyhomeowners.org. But right now, I've got a couple of excellent guests that are here to tell us about all of the great things that are coming up this weekend with the Martin Luther King commemoration, the Dream Unfinished, right? So lots of stuff coming up this weekend, the 25th, 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. And so I've got Dr. Linda Smith and the amazing Kevin Allen here to talk about that. So Dr. Linda Smith, I'll go ahead and give you the microphone first.
Okay. Well, thank you. And it's so nice to be here. And I love Rev Walden, an amazing voice in our community, and really excited about the great work of this weekend. Dream Unfinished, not a commemoration, but a continuation. Mm-hmm. So I serve as pastor at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church, and it is certainly an honor for us to be hosting this preaching event. And we see it as the beginning of a weekend, and I'm sure Brother Kevin is going to talk a lot more about some of the other things, but really it's an opportunity for us to come together as community leaders, as prophetic voices, to really advocate for issues around justice and that, there's lots of things that's going on. So 60 years ago, the March on Washington was immediately recognized, I think, as one of the most significant protests for social justice in America. And of course, over the months and years that followed, transformative and nonviolence commitment of civil rights began. But as we've seen over the past years, that there's been this threat to roll back so many of the things that we've achieved over the years. It seems 60 years later that we should not be still fighting for justice, but it's the reality of, what's going on in America. We should not be fighting what we were fighting for 60 years ago: voting rights, affirmative action, and now, the erasure of Black history, education system, economic suppression, and this whole issue around housing legacy. And so this event starts off the voice of the prophetic voice of those who were at the beginning of that march. I was a child, but I tell you, I remember that vision of and I lived in Arkansas, so that gives you a little bit about what things were like. They weren't very well. But I remember the March on Washington. It was like, wow, there was a light at the end of the tunnel because things were opening up. So in this preach-off, this Friday evening, we will be preaching against the powers at hand who are out to destroy the very gift of life that we are entitled to, not only by the Constitution, but by our great Creator. And this 60th year, I think, is pivotal because our goal is not to leave this year without action. As Blacks in America, our struggle has always become a gain for others. So all have gained from our pain. And that's why it's important for all people, Black, white, yellow, join us in this continuing fight for justice. So Friday evening, the prophetic voices will be preaching a truth to power on voting rights, housing and home ownership, education, reparation, gun violence, health equity, affirmative action. And so we're just excited about that. Again, it's at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church, 4519 Northeast 10th Street, Renton, Washington, 7:00 p.m. And in honor of Dr. King, it just feels so powerful. And you can tell I'm just all smiles. I'm really honored to join this great team of Martin Luther King County that's planning this. So we're really excited about it. So thank you.
That's excellent. Yeah. So that's Friday night, the preach-in. And then obviously there's a whole weekend. Kevin, you want to chime in quickly about some of the other things that are happening this weekend?
Sure. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to present this information. I, too, was a child in 1963. I was getting ready to turn 9 years old. And because of my father being an activist since the 40s, I was aware of what was going on. And that was one of the first things that I remember paying attention to, in terms of politics. And then I remember November being in third grade school when John F. Kennedy got shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that it was a big thing. So, one of the things about this whole, not a commemoration, but a continuation. And I know this is the age of anti-wokeness, but, we have to be awake. So many levels, just like what you're doing with the, with home ownership, we have to be awake and aware, because if we're not, if they say, if you sleep on it, you snooze, you lose. And sometimes we take things and we kind of let them sit, and then they slip away. And so a big part of this weekend is to bring awareness and say the struggle continues. It never ends. And that's some of the words of A. Philip Randolph. But Saturday, and we're thankful for the Northwest African American Museum for being a major partner of this whole event. Saturday is a day where we're putting a whole day for the youth. For many of us, we've heard about it. It's been taught to us. And even in the Bible, it talks about in Deuteronomy, talk to your children, talk to them while they're coming, while they're going, while they're sitting, while they're standing. Put a sign on their forehead so they will remember. And this is an opportunity to not only give information and put a sign on their forehead to remember what's happened in the past, but also to give them an opportunity to express their feelings and what their vision is, as well as take advantage of not only the opportunities of learning about what happened 60 years ago and what we are now, but also providing opportunities in particular for employment fairs and some of the other opportunities that'll be available to help them not fall for the okie doke that's often put out there in our culture. To look at it, there's a different way of looking at things, and there are opportunities. We're going to have young people do. We're going to have food. We're going to have opportunities for them to interact, and it's led by youth. We're also going to have opportunities to hear from different building trades and other things about apprenticeships and other opportunities for the alternative to do to move forward and have some economic growth opportunities for them so that they can be better equipped to move forward. So the next 60 years.
This is going to be real interesting. I know, and I know we only got about a minute left here, so I just want to kind of chime in about the 27th. You've got the stuff at the museum at 3 p.m. Right, the event on the 26th is all day, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The youth event, young adults, right, on the 26th, and that's also at the Northwest African American Museum. And then we've got a closing celebration, if you will, also at the African American Museum at 5:30 p.m. on Monday. Well, that is 1 week from today at 5:30 p.m. Again, this is a dream unfinished. It's not a commemoration. We're not coming together to just commemorate, but it is a continuation. So I think our show is coming to an end, but I really appreciate you guys coming on today and spreading the good word. And I hope to see you at one of the events this weekend. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. Yes.
All right. Bye now. All right. And thanks everybody for tuning in to the Mother's Justice Show. Reverend Walden will be back next week. And my name is Chukundi Salisbury. You can see us at blacklegacyhomeowners.org. Have a great day.